Many men today are willingly choosing to be single. They're not grumpy or whining like a little boy. They're actively making the choice they know is right for them. That's what real men are supposed to do. Study their path and make choices that serve their interest, not blindly conforming to what society expects of them. You might know what you have to do, but find it hard to accept it. That's what I'm here for, to make things clear for you. I'm going to tell you why men are choosing, I repeat, choosing to not commit to women. With the increasing divorce rates in society today, the statistics show similar trends in singlehood amongst men of many ages. The truth is, in today's day and age, being single is the finest proactive choice you can make. You get to put yourself and your plans first. You don't have to settle for mediocrity and not take risks for the sake of others. Take Elon Musk, for example. He has been through many marriages and has a lot more kids than any random bloke out there. Why do you think he went through so many marriages? Because his work comes first, and that mentality is a recipe for disaster in almost every relationship. They conserve their energy and choose carefully. One of the top reasons why men choose to be single is that they don't waste energy. A man who knows his own worth isn't interested in sending out hundreds of texts desperately flirting to see who responds. He chooses who he wishes to speak to and thinks it over, then contacts her. The same goes for having a relationship and dating. He'd much rather be single than waste his time seeing what works and going for test drives on different possible romantic opportunities. He'll politely decline a date if he's not really feeling it. And he'll also avoid casual encounters unless he is sure the other individual is into it and it's in line with his own moral code. Next, they prefer to focus on their other goals. Another one of the biggest reasons why men choose to be single is that they prefer to focus on their other goals. This could be related to career, pursuing other interests, or even developing new skills like learning languages, new talents, or attending courses on everything from basic mechanics to cooking. There is the common notion that a man only chooses to stay single when he's damaged or insecure, but in some cases, it's the opposite. He chooses to stay single because he genuinely wants to focus on non-relationship things, which would be harder to do if he was with someone. Further on, they never get the woman who they want. One of the more interesting reasons why men choose to be single is that they would rather be single than settle for who they don't want. I have a lot of respect for these men. They work on themselves and their weaknesses when they have to. They don't settle for what's easily obtainable. Why? Because they have their priorities defined. And that's the trait of a high-value man. This trait is also seen in other aspects of their lives and makes them stand out from the masses. There is no guilt or shame in not having a partner for the time being. No one cares if you don't care. Next, they could be resolving trauma and their issues first. Some men know they have trauma and issues they want to resolve before making a life-altering commitment to another human. They don't just want to unload their baggage on someone else and get into a codependent and toxic relationship. Perhaps they've been there before and experienced how unsatisfying and upsetting it can be. They might have even heard from friends and those they trust about how painful relationships can be when you haven't worked through your issues. The thing is, the high-value men understand that resolving trauma and issues doesn't mean reaching some plane of perfection or bliss. It is much more about becoming comfortable and secure in your own body, and owning and accepting your pain and trauma as a part of you. They want to build financial security before getting serious. Like it or not, we live in a world where money does matter, and it's also not particularly easy to get. Smart individuals know that, and they also tend to have a strong instinct to look after those they care about. Their nightmare is to be in a relationship and be financially insecure or arguing about money night and day. Far too many promising relationships burst apart as a result of financial problems and fights. That's why you want to build up a nest egg first, and then take control over a situation. Maybe with a long-term saving plan as well. Now, this doesn't mean that you're going to be ignoring potential romantic relationships right and left, but it does mean that you're going to be consciously deciding to stay single as your first choice in order to save money and become more financially stable. They just love to have their own space. This one's pretty straightforward. They might just love their own space. I know that may sound egotistical, but not necessarily. Wanting or even needing your own space is a perfectly valid reason. Anybody who's had roommates or long-term live-in relationships knows how hard it is to share space with another person, even if you love them. Having your own space is a precious thing, and it can be a sublime experience. Think of hiking out along a river all alone and sitting for an hour, meditating on the beautiful water as it flows over the rocks. No interruptions, no texts, no worries about whether your girlfriend is okay at the moment. They'd rather be alone than hitched to the wrong person. An average or low-value man is willing to lead a woman on for years in return for intimacy and companionship, even when he's not sure how he feels. A strong man won't. He respects his potential partner too much to lead her on. He's also seen the disasters that happen when people jump into relationships they're not ready for, or which are with the wrong person who's not a good match. For that reason, the high-value man is more than happy to stay single unless and until he finds someone he truly wants to commit to. Remember, a good relationship may be better than being single, but a bad relationship is 10 times worse than it. Lastly, they might just like setting their own schedule and priorities. Sometimes, high-value men want to stay single, for the simple reason that they want to be able to set their own priorities. They want their own space, as I said earlier, but they also want to look at the schedule for their coming week and be able to set it with a degree of certainty. Nothing introduces more wild cards than a relationship, and they know that. So for the sake of their current goals and priorities, they'd prefer to stay single and decide for themselves what they'll be doing day by day, instead of having outside commitments determine it for them. This may not be something you agree with or follow, but for some men who choose to stay single, it's very much a consideration. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Make sure you drop a like to support our channel and help us spread this message with more men who dream of greatness. With that said, see you in the next one.